Axes and Bananas podcast. As you can tell, a little raspy. All right, the voice is a little raspy because I sent it to the moon and back this weekend in Miami for Music Week. I basically managed to fit all of Music Week into 2 nights. Got to hang out with some of your old faves. So part of the Vacation Alliance was there, Josh and Tori and Sebastian. And we got after it. We actually went past the moon and went to Uranus. And I've been paying the consequences all week. That's why I'm actually glad we're recording this one a little bit later in the week, because 2 days ago I was a corpse. Probably wasn't able to do it unless I recorded from beyond the grave. But I had to resurrect myself to come back to record this episode with my next guest, because it's been a long time coming. All right. No pun intended. If you haven't already noticed, you can now watch the video version of this episode, not only on YouTube, but Spotify has finally gotten with the fucking times. And now the video version is also available on Spotify. So at this point, you have absolutely no excuse to not watch or listen to my podcast. All right. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iTunes. I think you can also get it on Napster or LimeWire for those of you who are like, Gen Z, the new kids. Anyways, enough about me. I want to talk a little bit about history. I want to go back in the Wayback Machine, tell you a little story where once upon a time, there was this rival of mine. He was somewhat of a pain in my ass, but he became a student, my grasshopper, studied my game, watched every move I made, and learned the art of survival. But over the years, he stepped away from the silver screen, and something changed. This season, he's back. Not as a follower, not as a sidekick, but as an all-star, daylighting as Freddie Mercury. An absolute master of manipulation, a puppeteer pulling strings while smiling in your face and stealing your friends. The apprentice has become the illusionist, and the game has never been more dangerous. So, today I would like to welcome back my old mentee, my old rival, the deceiver, and the new era villain that we never saw coming. No pun intended. From the real world San Diego, Battle of the Seasons, and Rivals 2, and a short stint on Free Agents, my main man, Frank, a.k.a. Freddie Mercury. Welcome back to the first time to the podcast.
Johnny, thank you so much for that introduction. That was gorgeous. And I really, honestly, it goes beyond the challenge. My whole life has really been dedicated to stepping into your shoes.
Thanks, man.
So I really appreciate that. That was very sweet.
Dude, you came strong with the mustache.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I just like, it was a real boys and girls club kind of intro. And I just appreciate you so much,
Dude, I appreciate you.
You're my founding father.
And you're my zaddy.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm kind of bummed that it took you this long to come back to the show, especially after what you brought this season. I'm like, dude, this is like kind of like what the show has been missing. Like, I would have loved to have seen you back on like the flagship.
Yeah, I will say I had a little bit of FOMO on 40. I feel like that was one that I maybe should have tapped into and said yes to, because that looked fun, and I had so many good folks there. So
you would have been, I believe, in era 3, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or would you have been in my era? Okay,
I would have been in 3.
That's what era 3 needed. Fucking another dominant fucking player. We could have used you. Maybe they could have figured out a way to throw you on my team. Yeah. We needed all the help we could get. So what have you been up to? Man? I mean, you got a real job now. You got like a real life. You sound a little bit like me.
Yeah.
Stepped away from the dumb shit, really just got serious about life, 401k, fucking house with a white picket fence. I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, our parallels are so incredible. No, I went to grad school, got a doctorate, got a job, doing the whole thing. Just real life shit. Got a husband, working
What?
on a family right now.
You're
It's good. It's
married?
great. I'm married.
What was all that one in
Yeah,
a million talk?
I know. I'm so sorry, dude. I really edged you there. But hey, you never know what's going to happen.
The one that got
And
the one that got away.
And if I ever do get divorced, I feel like what I'm going to go for is like guy who parties in Miami and
Yeah,
packs in music weekend in 2 days.
dude. And
Shows up with a raspy voice and a cute mustache and a Rumble t-shirt. And that's my type.
no underwear.
Mm-hmm.
680, 680 credit score.
6'8" in height too.
Yes,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
6.5, a cold hard steel.
That's right.
Well, dude, it's good to see you again, man. So you've gotten serious about life. What was it though? Was there like, there has been I mean, because I've never really taken a lot of time away from the show, obviously. I've never stepped away. I mean, there's a lot of people that have stepped away, established a life, a family, a career. Has there always kind of been like this itch to come back? Did you always feel like there was kind of like a piece missing or like some unfinished business that you have? And do you feel like this season has kind of scratched that itch?
Yeah. I think there's always been a what if, right? Like, I think, you step away, you step into like routine, into real life. And then there's always a what if, like what would happen if I went back? What would happen if I went back as an individual? I've never played an individual game. So that was really what was on my mind. I was like, what if I went back? Because all the All-Star seasons had been individual up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's enticing, right? Like that's enticing. And Mark Long is a salesman. Like he called me and he worked me. Yeah. So I got excited about it. And I think all the factors were there as far as timing, what I had going on in my life, that I had stuff lined up at work well enough that I could step out for, however long we were filming for 6 weeks or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to answer that what if question and let's see. They
were like, listen, Frank, we know in the past we haven't necessarily given you the greatest shot at winning with your partners. I mean, we paired you with bananas the last time. This time we are going to 100% make sure you see that finish line because we're partnering up with Sam.
I think that's what they were thinking. Yeah. They were like, you know what? Actually they called me, they apologized that you were such an anchor on Rivals 2. Dude. And they said, we got to make up for this. They were like, we got to do something here. Like that was abominable of us. And I said, I know.
They were like, we got to find the one person that honestly, if Frank goes down and dies, like, and if he just can't hack it, that will be able to literally pick him up and carry him across the finish line.
Sam's carrying me. She's carrying the season. She's got hookups. She's got drama. She's got best friends breaking up with her. She's winning challenges. I mean, this is Sam's Rivals. This is the All-Stars Rivals Sam.
You're like her muse. You like rubbed off on her.
Yeah.
Before we get into again, like our season on Rivals 2, last time we saw you before this was on Free Agents. Very controversial DQ, especially with what they're allowing to fly these days. Would you have like a fucking cold or something? And they were like, all right. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie, Frank. Like I knew, like, just based on the previous season that we'd done, just what a force you could be and how how unhinged and uncontrollable you could be. And it's like I already had enough on my plate that season. So when you went down, I'm like, all right, that's fine. It's like watching Jordan leave. You're like, all right, see you later, man. Again, given what we've seen over the past few seasons and what they allow to like slide, your fucking legs hanging off and it's hanging by a thread. Let's like stitch it back together. Were you cut? I mean, do you think that was kind of a bullshit way to go out?
Yeah, I do. I was sick. Like for sure. Very sick. I had pneumonia. Went to the hospital in Uruguay. We were in Uruguay for that one. And I speak Spanish. I could hear what the folks at the hospital were saying about me. But it was not that I needed to go home. It was that I needed like some meds and to rest for a bit.
Yeah.
I think if I'm honest, I think I don't know that they were ready for a Frank win. Because I think I would have won that. I really do. I think it would have been you, me, Jordan, or CT in the final as the top dogs there. Yeah. And I think they weren't ready for the bad boy or like the villain to take that one home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would have been. I mean, looking back on that, people always ask me like, what was your out of all the wins that you had, which one did you like the most? Which one was the most gratifying? And I always say rivals and free agents. And free agents because, I had to thug it out. Like it was basically Johnny Riley, CT, Zach, and Jordan all in an alliance. And it was against me. And I had to basically go through that entire alliance and then beat, Johnny in the final and Zach in the final in order to like come out triumphant. But yeah, if you would have been there, the whole dynamic in that equation might have been completely different. It would have been a whole different story.
Definitely would have been caught in the middle because those are two alliances, two sides of an alliance that would have been tough to sort of navigate. But yeah, no, I mean, props to you on that one. That's a fun season. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I didn't finish it, but I watched about like halfway through at the time. And it was just like, that's a great format. Switching it up. You and I just beating the shit out of each other, going up that stairwell. Remember?
Yes. That first chain together. I had Cara in a headlock. Like, fuck, dude. That was like, that's what she used to be. Like, the challenges used to be, I mean, for those who don't remember, we, like free agents, the format switched every challenge. So one day it was individual, one day it was pairs, one day it was two teams. This one happened to be two big teams, and they chained us all together like a chain gang. And we had to go, how many stories was that? How many flights of stairs?
Like 50, 60, something like that. Dude, it was wild.
Around and around, and you're just going up these flights of stairs. And the two teams then, I mean, just picture a very tight stairwell. And, 15 people chained together, 15 people. Oh, no, it wasn't 15. No, because they split the team up into 3, right? So maybe it was like 8 people, right?
It was enough. It was enough to make it feel like we were in like a gauntlet, just like right at each other. Yeah.
It was fucking vicious, man. And us just like, you're tired. You're just like, dude, chains are getting wrapped around people. That was a brutal way to start it off, man. So
those are the memories I take home, though. That's the fun stuff. Like, I mean, I'm so grateful for the challenge in general and for the real world and everything it's offered me. But like the stuff that sticks with me is like doing shit like that. That's wild, right? Like who else gets an opportunity to do something like that and like really test themselves? I think it is so fun.
After your real world season, I mean, a few of the notables who obviously are kind of still around, Zach, Ashley, Sam has made her triumphant return. The other few, I don't even remember them. Priscilla, Nate, and Alexandra. I don't remember them. But you guys won. You, Ashley, Zach, and Sam actually won Battle of the Seasons. Mm-hmm. Was there any concern, I guess, coming into this season? There was going to, with Sam, especially being partnered up with Sam. Did you have any concerns, or did you feel like, what was in the past was in the past and, just going to come and you guys are just going to stomp it this season?
I had so many concerns. Okay, so you got to imagine coming into this after 10, 12 years. Yeah, my nerves were fucking wrecked, dude. Like I was nervous. We get to the hotel, we get some time before we start filming. And I was, we get to the hotel, we get some time before we start filming. And I was just like, damn, I was trying to lay low because I didn't know what folks knew about me. There's a lot of like people that I had never met on the season who aren't necessarily like old schoolers, right? Like, I don't know what Fessy thinks about me. I don't know what Devin thinks about me. So I was trying to kind of lay low, hang with Ashley, not really stick my neck out. And then we get to filming and we line up in the jungle before we get paired as rivals. And me trying to lay low, they're like, hey, can we get Frank in the center? We need Frank in the middle. So let's just get him right in the middle. Sam, Ashley, can we flank both sides of him? And then they just like start talking to me. And I was like, well, this is foreshadowing.
So much for laying low.
So much for laying low. But no, I mean, look, I love Sam as a person. I think she's phenomenal. She's like, if you ever have a chance to get a beer with her, she's going to make you laugh.
Do you think almost though going in with her almost played to your advantage? Because I mean, if you go in as like one of the quote unquote stacked teams, everyone's going to be looking to potentially go after you. Like, so did you guys kind of almost like play up the layup card when people are like, oh, the weakest team, play up the weakest team card? I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's what like Veronica and Katie did. I mean, it's like, yo, yeah, we're the weakest team. Don't look over here. And then you just basically kind of fucking walk your way to the end.
Well, look, I mean, you tell me. You've been on more seasons than I have, and you know the way that this is going. I read the room when I got there, and I was like, this is my only play. Mm-hmm. Right? So I had to adapt my strategy when I got there. When I was
I've never been able to use that card.
Okay, you're just too good.
No, it's not me. It's just I've never been paired up with somebody that I could, where we were viewed as like the weakest team. I mean, every time they paired me up with somebody, actually, other than you, I think that was the only season
I was just going to say, yeah, what the fuck? I was like this like gay little anchor for you. I could barely do anything.
You are correct. Other than Rivals 2, every other season, I've just had a stacked partner. Then Rivals 2
don't think I didn't clock that you said I was the worst partner you've ever had, Johnny. I heard it.
Here's the thing.
It exists in the ether. I heard it.
Hold on, though, Frank. Not from a competitive standpoint. Not from a competitive standpoint. The problem with you and I as partners, which, again, it was Rivals, I feel like the entire time you were trying, like we never competed as a pair. I feel like you were always trying to compete against me. And I'm like, Frank, we're both pulling in the same direction here, dude. Like it behooves us to like work together and not like, because that's how it seemed like the entire season. If we win a challenge or we lose a challenge, we never won as a pair or lost as a pair. It was like, I was responsible for us losing or you were responsible for us winning.
Yeah. Look, I could probably. I probably fought you on that shit. I was 23 years old.
No, I remember the final. Your fucking ass running like goddamn, like the wind, and I'm back there like in the back. I'm like, dude, wait for me, man. Fucking running a marathon.
I think I needed a lot of credit back then because I was just like, I was insecure. Totally. Like I'll be first to admit it. I was totally insecure. But my memory of that, honestly, Johnny, I had a great time with you there, and it was nice to see who you were as someone who carries such a reputation. Even, back then, like going into the show, you and I had no idea we were going to be paired together. And I was like, Jesus, I only know this man by reputation, right? And it's a big one. Yeah. And I had fun with you. I really did.
I did too.
And looking back on it, I'm happy that we did it. And I don't give a fuck if, I'm your worst partner ever. I think we did pretty well.
Dude, listen, Frank, I did not. If I said that, which I probably did, what I meant when I said that was not from a competitive standpoint, dude, because that's what I'm saying is like you were so good. And I remember like you and Jordan would like go on these fucking runs that just would not end. And I'm like, I've never, my strong suit has never been like long-term endurance, right? That's just never been like long runs. I could hike up a mountain forever, but to just like sit there and just run forever. I remember after we got off the show and we went to, remember we went to CrossFit, was a brick or whatever in LA?
Yeah, it's a brick. Yeah, that's right.
And you're like, all right, let's go for like a 5-minute run before warm up. I'm like, all right, I'm ready for a jog. Bro, you took off like you were shot out of a fucking cannon. I'm like, Frank, we're going to do CrossFit. All right, we're just going to work out today. This isn't a fucking pissing contest. But I almost felt like it. I mean, in a way,
it was. That was who I was. Like I was always. I mean, think about it. Like I was coming in with such a chip on my shoulder because I had Zach on the previous season, who I was running up against as far as like who's doing what, who's competing for what, who wants to for what. I had a chip on my shoulder. I totally get it. I was definitely doing that. The liberating part of coming back after so long is I really don't care.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't care what people in the house think about me. I don't care what people after think about me. I went in to just like play a game and have fun with it. And I think I did just that. I'm really proud of Rivals 5 or whatever we call them, All-Stars, Rivals, Frank. I think, I just went in to have fun and it felt so much more gratifying.
And it shows you had a much like going in, because again, back in the day, and this is what was a lot of us, you had a tendency to like fly off the handle really quick. I mean, you had the one moment after the deliberation this season when the whole, who's they thing came up, when you kind of had one of your little mini meltdowns. People were like, oh my God, Frank's meltdown. I'm like, guys, this is nothing. Okay, this is
people you
ain't seen nothing. I mean, just going back to like when you got into it with what was it, Dustin, dude, even like on Rivals 1, like night 1, getting into it with CT. I mean, that's why I was, I'm not going to lie, after your, after Battle of the Seasons, after you guys won, the reason, if people don't know this, the reason Frank and I were rivals was because him and I talked shit on Twitter to each other. We had never actually met. We were the first team ever paired up as rivals based on a Twitter back and forth. So we'd never really met, but I'm not going to lie, going into Rivals, I'm like, This is a guy, actually, I would rather have pissing in out of my tent than into it. So I was actually kind of glad they paired us up, because that would have been that would have been a back with Spicy Frank. You know what I mean? That would have been a whole different ball of wax.
Oh yeah, folks trying to compare who Frank is on All Stars versus who Frank was 12 years ago. It's incomparable.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate trying to draw out the analogy, but even that puffing chest bravado show that I did after people were coming for me and sort of clocking my game was just that. It was just bravado, because I was like, well, I can't. What am I supposed to lay down and be like, yep, it's me. I'm doing it all. You're right. I'm running everything. No, I had to give him something. I had to give him something to chew on to throw people off my scent.
Speaking of which, when did you, at what point in your life or is this season, started using the pronoun they?
Yeah, that's very sweet. I'm here to represent the queer community, and if I have to adopt some new pronouns for it, I'll do it.
When did you become they, though? Or did you know, or here's the other thing. Are you they, or are you just taking credit for they, like, once things got out of control? I think that's the big question. Like, who is they? Who is they?
Yeah. I think we've got a case of, look, everyone who does this show is a narcissist. So we got a whole pool of narcissists in this house, right?
So it's not
everybody.
Thems.
Thems wants them's credits, right?
Yes.
And everybody's going to fight for the spotlight and for the place to be like, oh, I'm the one running the game. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. There is not a single other person in that house who can lay claim to making the amount of moves that I made from day one. Mm-hmm. Anyone who wants to pipe up and say, like, I jumped in here, I did this here, I did that. From the first day we were there, I was working the entire house. I worked one alliance, which was Devin and Leroy and Nani and Turbo and Fessy and Amber. I worked that alliance from the first day. Swapped alliances, worked Veronica's alliance after that, and then worked as a free agent and fucking put everybody against each other. That was all me.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had the license to do that, to go back to your question about Sam, because I had a sort of fatalistic resignation. Like, okay, we can't run anything. Like, we can't get in there. And
for those of my listeners who aren't as intelligent as me, fatalistic realization?
Resignation?
What does that mean?
I thought we went into that first challenge, Sam and I did. She went home in an ambulance after that one, after the very first challenge.
Okay.
And I was just like, I need to shift my expectations of what I can do on the field. So
gotcha. That was the fatalistic resignation.
I got nothing to lose. Like, I could go into elimination anytime. I'm a total layup in elimination on this team. I'm not going to be able to run the actual dailies. So who the fuck cares? Just go hard and play hard and name names and spin up some shit.
Sam's fatalistic resignation actually probably benefited your game, because people were just like, okay, good. They're not going to be, okay, gotcha.
It did in this sense. I think every game should be played differently. And I think if I was there on my own, I probably would have linked up with Fessy or Devin or some of the bigger players and been like, hey, let's run this thing with integrity. While meanwhile, getting ready to cut them down. But I would have played it differently if I was there on my own. This gave me the sort of license to be like, oh, I can be a little messy in the background and really turn the heat up politically.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've always been someone who just kind of finds a way to rub people the wrong way.
Seems that way. Yeah.
It does. Is this something, because people always ask me, they're like, are you Johnny Bananas in real life? And I'm like, listen, I've always been kind of mischievous. I've always been someone that likes to tease people, get people riled up. But I feel like when I go on TV, I'm just a more over the top, in your face, colorful version of that person. So in real life, is Frank Sweeney still the one that wants to get people worked up, kind of tease people, kind of push buttons, but then when you come on the show, you just kind of take it to a whole different stratosphere?
What would have served me in my real life to be mischievous and work people up? No,
I don't know.
No,
it's entertaining.
I think I turn it up on the show. I think we have to. We're making a fucking TV show, and that's important to do. Yeah. But I think people are. Johnny, I'm not a man of the people. Look at me. Yeah. I'm fucking handsome. I'm smart. Yep. I'm successful. I got my shit together.
You're modest.
I'm modest.
You and I might be the two most modest guys in this fucking.
I don't fly economy international. That was the fucking worst part of the challenge. Sleep in a bunk bed. That's not me. Yeah. I'm not a man of the people. I understand I'm not necessarily relatable in that sense. And I think a lot of the folks in the house hate that. And I think also there is a bit of main character syndrome here. And you hate to use the word like, oh, they're jealous, but I think there's a little bit of jealousy. Like, I think it was very clear stepping into that house where cameras were and what where the spotlight was pointed. And it's evident in the show as well. So it's just like, I think everybody else wants to eat away at that, and everybody kind of wants to be the main character. And that certainly wasn't my intention going in. I told you I wanted to lay low and I just wanted to play the game. But then I got there, and it was so easy to just like manipulate these relationships and play this up because I didn't have anything to lose. I had a license to just go nuts. So I did.
What would you say? And I know it's been a while since you've done a flagship. What would you say like the main differences are or were between an all-stars and a flagship? Would you say that is one of the, main, like the people maybe, or the personalities or the teams or the format is just easier to kind of manipulate?
This was, personally, I thought that this was such an easy, the layout was right in front of me. Right. Yeah. I think like you so clearly have front runners because these mixed gender pairs, regardless of what everybody wants to say, it doesn't necessarily feel great on the ground. Like, I'm not beating Adam and Steve in anything. They're going to outrun me no matter what. Right. Yeah. Like, there's two of them. Yeah. There's even if we are all three of us great at puzzles, right? They got two brains. I got one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. It's
I get it. I've actually benefited in the past from the same gender. I was on, Bloodlines with my cousin Vince. And obviously we were one of the most, dominant teams there. Tony and I on friggin', what do you call it? On Vendettas. I benefited from that, but I've always felt the same way. If people were complaining, I just kind of sit in the back and be like, yeah, whose idea was this? This really sucks. But I'd always have to try and downplay. Like, I'm like, but we're two like big guys. Like, what if it's a weight challenge, or what if it,
Yeah, but like, Julie, what's Melissa and Nicole going to do weighing 115 pounds soaking wet between the two of them?
Yeah.
So, what are they going to do in like one where they have to move some weight? Like, it's hard. But I think All Stars, we went into the first couple challenges and they felt not necessarily distinctive from the flagship. I felt like they were like kind of physical. We had like obstacle courses. We had a heights challenge. We had somewhere to push your partner. And so I was like, I don't really see what the difference is here. And then about midpoint of the season, challenges started to lighten up a little bit and they became a little bit more fair. And I was like, okay, now it feels a little bit more wide open. Now it feels like anybody's game. And so that was a good feeling. But yeah, I think overall, worked up a little bit of a sweat on some of these dailies.
Yeah.
But not much.
Because everyone I've heard, they're like, oh, you got to do All Stars. It's so much more fun. It's like campy. It's more like carnival games, that sort of thing. Like the vibe just isn't as intense. Which kind of sounds nice considering the fact that 40, we were basically killing each other the entire season.
Truly. Yeah. I don't know if I could do that anymore. Honestly, I don't know if I got it in me. That just seems like a lot. This was a great pace. The house was beautiful. People were like,
yeah, you guys got the sick house. The house that you guys were in was so
we were looking at the castle. We were looking at the castle. We did all of our interviews there.
What was the challenge that you guys did? Where you
were milkshake one.
Yes, the milkshake one. That was our deliberation room.
I know.
They had to walk up and it smelled like bat shit. They had to clean out like 500,000 bats out of that property.
It still smelled like bat shit.
I know. So I've heard again from some people who've done both. There's almost like, if you're known for being a flagship challenge competitor, they were like, yeah, you go in there and it's like all these all-star, returning all-star players almost like target and go after the flagship challenge players. Like, no, this is our turf. You don't belong here. Did you get that sense at all? Did you feel like you were kind of treated as a neutral party, could have been on for a while, or did you kind of see that, like kind of them teeing off a little bit or ganging up on the, quote unquote, challenge flagship competitors?
dynamics in the house were so clear from day one. It was Adam, Steve, Veronica, Katie as like OGs. Like we're OGs and we don't want people who aren't OGs even on All Stars. So we're going to target folks like Corey and Big T. We're going to try to take out Fessy and Amp, like teams that didn't fit their idea of what All Stars was. That was one camp. Okay. The other camp was like Nani and Devin and Fessy, who like have done flagship seasons together, have been in alliances before. That was another camp. And then you had like floaters like me and Ashley and Dario, and we could sort of navigate in either direction, right? Because we were just like, hey, like we're not really part of either of these camps. But that was so clear that was what was going on, like from the moment that we walked in. So I don't know if it was like flagship versus all stars per se, but it was certainly like there was an entitlement to what it was to be an OG. And I remember Katie being like, "You're era 2, right? Like, so you're like you're an OG, you're era 2." And I was like, well, "Sure, yeah, yep, that's me. I'm era 2. I'm not." But I was like, "Yeah, totally. I'm with you guys.
I'm old school.
I'm old school, man.
I started this gangster shit.
Yeah, I'm getting prostate exams. Please, I'm old."
Did you feel like? I mean, obviously, you rubbed some people the wrong way. Do you feel like Turbo at some point almost became like a shield or like a shiny object because of how many people he kind of started rubbing the wrong way just with his...
You know what's so funny? Turbo's really gotten his shine in the last couple episodes as being like, you know, kind of a stinker. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I interacted with that man net zero. So I have no idea. He's a weirdo, dude. I know. Like, and I don't even mean that in a shady way. I don't mean that in a mean way at all. I think he's just like an oddball who like marches to the beat of his own drum. I let him do his thing. Like we didn't really interact much. I think I think he rubbed people the wrong way by like sleeping in the living room because it did kind of suck to have that. We didn't have much common space inside where there was air conditioning. And so like the living room was kind of it. And you know, in Vietnam, it was so hot outside. Yeah. So hanging out outside was brutal. Yeah. And so to have him eat up that space, I think kind of like rubbed folks the wrong way. But like, when I tell you, there were people who just stayed, like Devon, Nani, they didn't leave their beds. They were in bed. They were bed sore girls the whole time. Turbo, doing his own thing. Didn't see him. Steve, I don't know, hooked up to some kind of machine at all points. Like you just didn't see these people the whole time you were there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to. I mean, they're getting, you know, and not to make fun of, you know, the older generation because I'm right there with it. But I feel like there are different levels to the older generation. Like, for example, I think that you would definitely be able to come onto the flagship. And again, not necessarily from you know, set aside the mental anguish and the you know, emotion, whatever. And like you said, I mean, I'm the same way. I've so like my life right now, and like the way that I have like my life kind of stability wise, you just don't have the same, you just don't have the same tolerance that you used to when you were living a chaotic life and when you were younger for just shit being fucking chaotic. And that's how the show is, right?
A cold shower? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No way.
Like you said, all your rights taken away, got to ask to piss. I get that. But take all that out. And if you're just talking about like, you know, the physical athletic competition side, I feel like you're one of those people who would still be able to hack it. Whereas I don't think like, you know, like a Steve or an Adam would necessarily be able to. I think the flagship.
Oh, Johnny, you just fucking killed that man. You just took him out in a way that you have no idea. Adam is desperate to go back to the flagship. Desperate. Oh, dude. Desperate. You just stabbed him through his heart, out his back, and then back up his asshole. He is going to be so upset. Buddy. He is so pressed to try to get on the flagship. It's great. It's all he talks about.
Here's the thing, though, man. Is it's a different speed, dude. It is a different fucking speed. And you hear guys like who have even done the flagship and then all stars come back on the flagship and be like, dude, this like Leroy, Derek. I mean, Jordan's a fucking different human, so it doesn't really, nothing affects him. But you hear people come on and be like, dude, I never want to come back on the flagship again after doing all stars because it's that much fucking just more brutal. You know what I mean?
You saying that actually entices me to want to do it because I'm like, I just want to see what the difference is.
Dude, you should.
I'm not. This is, when I tell you, I am sincerely, this was a fun extracurricular. Now it's time to get back to real life.
Fun little vacay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So you said, obviously, like when the way that you were kind of working the room and working all these different alliances, you, Veronica, and Katie were you guys in the same room? It always looked like you were.
Because I was always hanging out with them. So personally, like they were just really great to hang out with. So it was a natural fit to just like shoot the shit, throw on a face mask, hang out, and then talk game. And I think Veronica, I realized, when I started out working with the Devons and Vessies and some of these stronger teams, I knew that was never going to be a sustainable thing. But interpersonally, I really liked Devin. I love Nani. I enjoyed Fessy. I love Amber. So that worked. But then, 2-3 challenges in, I'm like, oh, I got to link up with another weak team and make that my number one connection because we're going to play the game the same. Mm-hmm. So then I started investing a little bit more into my relationship with Veronica. That naturally evolved into a nice friendship. And it was like, cool, let's take this somewhere. Because we're playing the game the same way. We're both playing from a place of pretty much anybody can beat us. So we got to take out top dogs.
At any point was this, alliance, this friendship with Veronica, was there any part of you that was also trying to potentially drive a wedge in between her and a bestie of hers? Or was that just kind of collateral damage? That just kind of happened and,
When I tell you that I had no intention of interacting with this person at all, ever. So no, I was just naturally developing a friendship with Veronica, period. It was not meant to be a threat to anybody else in the house. It was just hey, I really like you. And look, the balance in the world has reordered itself. I'm sure that they are best friends again. I can barely get her to text me back. So who cares, right? We were friends while we were there. It's over. I don't care. That's it.
But it did seem like, once you and Veronica kind of buddied up, it obviously riled some feathers. Your bestie's partner, Davon, kind of wanted to play one game, wanted to get rid of Veronica. Did you see that in other partnerships as well, where one person was playing with one set of alliances, the other person was playing with another set of alliances, and then there was kind of this.
I think Mel and Nicole were pretty divided, but they were sort of playing from the bottom politically the whole time. And that's not to say that Mel especially is not a player, because I think she's incredibly savvy.
She's incredibly savvy.
She's incredibly savvy.
Nicole has fucking one brain cell. And that's why I'm literally watching this being like, no, and I've experienced this in the past, dude. I'm literally experienced this in the past where I'm like, what are you thinking? And it's crazy because... And I saw her doing it with Mel this season when they were talking about what vote was it? Was it on episode 8 or 9? When Nicole's just like, just trust me. And she's like, you got to trust me on this one. Oh, okay. When I believe it was when Veronica and Katie threatened Nicole that they were going to send her, and it was the challenge.
Johnny, that night was nuts. I knew that something was going on because I had cameras on me while we were at the bar, and I was eating ice cream, and I was like, "Why do cameras need to capture me eating ice cream? Who the hell cares?" Yeah. We went back to the house, and it was after Shane and some other folks had cooked up a plan to try to get rid of me, and Veronica. This is when I knew that we were in a solid alliance. The way she got activated for me and was like, you better show your cards and you better not vote in Frank. I was like, oh, we're for real. We're locked in. Veronica and I are locked in.
That's right, because that was the plan, right? Shane was going to try and get the house to send you in, and he basically told Cardinal Sin, don't tell Nicole anything to keep it a secret because it ain't going to happen, because then she immediately runs to Veronica, and then that's when, you're right, that's what it was. I forgot what.
Yeah. But Nicole is at the core of it. She's so sweet. For real, she is. She is a sweet person. I don't think she's claiming to be a thinker.
Yeah.
But it put Mel and Nicole in a place where they were at odds, because I think Mel can play the fuck out of this game. If she had license and was on her own, she's dangerous. Yeah. She's really smart.
No fear.
I think Davon and Shane were the most divided team, and because of that, no one was ever looking at them as a threat. I think that it's great to be able to play up in post, oh yeah, we played the middle. That can be my stance. But the way that I understood it and the way that the house looked at it was, they can't get on the same page for anything. So they're not a threat to us for any reason. But my relationship with Davon was complicated because I think we remember our relationship differently from the show. I really liked her. I went to her for advice a lot. She came to me for a lot of chats. And so I guess like we're just remembering our relationship differently. I reached out to her when we wrapped, said like, hey, hope you and Cadence are doing great. Like, I know you don't have a lot of bandwidth for folks from the show, but like, I'm around. Here's my number.
Yeah.
Nothing. Radio silence.
And why do you think that? I mean, what do you think she's carrying with her? Like, what do you think? What do you think the issue is?
I truly have no idea. I really don't. I don't know. She's a complex person. And so I don't know. I think maybe she's just there to turn it on for the cameras, and that's fine. I can respect that hustle.
I mean, do you think her partner may have kind of poisoned the well as well?
I don't know. I can't speak to it.
Yeah.
But I really liked her. And
I don't like, you know what? And that's okay. Unless someone really does some dirty shit to you, right? Unless someone really fucking fucks you over, unless you really have like a legit kind of like understanding with a person about how you're going to play the game, if you're going to be in an alliance together and then they burn you. I just don't understand why people take the game back in their real life like so seriously. It's like, guys, like everyone has to be.
I don't get it.
We're at the end of the day, it is a game. We're all there to play a game. Not everyone's going to win. There's going to be some winners. There's going to be some losers. And you get to a point in the game where you have to start, making decisions and choosing sides, and we all know what we sign up for.
I think if there's one person who could be legitimately pissed at me about the gameplay, it's Devin. That's it. And he's not. I mean, he's aiming his targets at Dario, Sam, things like that. Totally misdirected. Fully me. Like it was fully me who threw him in and cooked up the plan and had that working in the back of my brain weeks before I actually did it. But I really enjoyed him. We're hanging out. He made me laugh. So like if anyone could carry some sort of vendetta from the game, it's really only him.
So
everybody else is just like surface level relationships. I don't care.
So you then think that the anger towards Dario from his perspective was misdirected. Now Leroy, on the other hand, and that's what I thought was funny. He's like, Leroy, this is your homie, dude. Like him and Dario are and have been super tight for a long time. So that actually kind of shocked me. But what you're saying is that Devin should have been more pissed at you because you're the one that kind of almost set Dario up to take that path.
I mean, maybe it's because I'm watching the show with knowledge of what actually happened, but like when Dario sort of leaked that was the plan, he was just saying what Frank was going to do. He wasn't like, I'm doing this. I'm rallying for this. He's like, I think Frank's gonna put in Devin and Leroy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all he said. Corey, my clapback queen, who I do really love, then took the story and kind of spun it to say that Dario was, rallying the vote. So I can see why everybody would be upset there. But no, you know how much work it took for me to convince Dario that this was even an okay idea? Yeah. Like it was work, dude. I was working this guy for weeks before I could actually pull off this move. And I knew that only I would pull off this move because nobody else was going to touch them.
He didn't exactly deny it, though. That's the thing. When Leroy put him on the spot, when Devin called him over and they both put him on the spot, he basically was like, well, it's better for my game if one of the two of you isn't here. And it's like, that's not exactly a full throat.
Mario. He didn't. I don't think he handled that conversation the best. But I also am very aware that he was not like running a propaganda scheme to get rid of them.
Yeah. He wasn't running a propaganda scheme against it either, though. That's what I've always said. So that's what I've always said. It's like if I'm in an alliance with somebody, right? An alliance. It's like, well, I haven't said your name. I've never said your name once. Okay, you haven't said my name, but if my name was being floated around, you didn't exactly try and tamp down the fire either.
Yeah. You can play war by proxy left and right on this show. Yeah, for sure.
It's the fine print. You know, it was a big war by proxy guy, which is probably why Devin couldn't be mad at you. Devin. That's his game.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never met anyone that has more fine print in fucking deals that he makes. Oh, no. This deal has an expiration date of 48 hours. And
so many deals. When they didn't show when he went in, he was pissed, dude. He was pissed. Yeah. And he was just like, calling Sam and I names, whatever. And then I just went down the lineup of folks standing up there at the jungle. And I was like, here's who you have to deal with. Here's who you have to deal with. Here's who you have to deal with. Here's who you have to. You got to deal with everybody. What am I going to do with the deal? Yeah. What am I going to do with the deal that you gave me? You're going to take Salmon out of the final? I'm going to trust that, please.
He made a new one on 40. Actually, him and Kylan did. It was called a transferable deal.
Okay. What's that? What are the details?
Bro, I've never heard anything like it. I'm like, dude, you guys are really coming up with some shit now. The transferable deal was, I have a deal. Say you and I have a deal, okay? And you then don't want to get you want to then not get sent in by whoever is in power. I could transfer the deal that I made with the person in power to you. So now the deal that I had with them is transferred to you. So now you owe them a favor instead.
I'm gonna tell you what, I blacked out halfway through that. I don't get it. So, but that's great. Good job, Devin.
It was wild.
Creative thinking. Yeah.
Never. And him and Kylan to this day will swear that the transferable deal is a valid deal and it actually makes sense.
I want to play with. I do like. There's going to be continued what ifs for me. I think for the challenge, one of them will be doing an individual season. But I also like playing with folks like that, playing with you again, playing with some of the people who have a little more savvy to them about the game. Yeah, would be really fun.
Definitely. It definitely makes it more interesting for sure.
Yeah.
So episode 10, Melissa and Nicole just stole Nany and Turbo's star. This is the last elimination. This is the last challenge elimination before the final. What's everyone's thoughts about this? It seemed like, again, Turbo did exactly what you don't want to do this far into the game, which is basically give people a reason that, you know how it is. The entire game, you're literally looking for reasons to target certain people. You're looking for them to do something. You're looking for them to say something. You're looking for just something to grasp onto. And you could tell that once that big fight blew up between, Turbo and Adam, that almost just seemed like everyone's, that was just then going to be everyone's rationale for targeting them for a star.
I think also, think about it. Shane and Devon, not a threat in a final scenario. Frank and Sam, not a threat in a final scenario. Adam and Steve, incredible threat in a final scenario, but that's Nicole's number one. Yeah. She's going to take her number one star. There was only one left for them to take regardless. So they can invent reasons and point to Turbo's, bad behavior, whatever their fight that Mel and him had. But I think that was the only move that they would have ever made is to take that, because no one's going to take it. I mean, realistically, who's going to take mine and Sam's star when we're this close to the final? You don't want to run against us? Please.
I mean, that's the whole strategy. It's the layup strategy. Who you want to take someone to the final that you know that you have a good shot at beating?
Yeah, 100%. So I think that was the only move. I think what was interesting here in episode 10 that was not shown was what's the other scenario? What are the rules around not putting in Nany and Turbo and letting them get a chance to get their star back? What if me as the winner, I wanted to cook up something where, to the behest of Nany, who wanted to go in and do this and who I'm friends with, I was like, girl, I don't really want to give you an opportunity to get a star. I don't want you to run the final. I don't want Adam and Steve to run the final. So what if we put in Adam and Steve and Devon and Shane?
Yeah.
Just see what happens. What goes to that star? Is there only 3 people who run after that? Somebody's got to go home. I wanted to take out anybody who could have been in my way. And honestly, I was hoping to show up to the final and Nick and TJ would say, that would have
been interesting. I don't think
it's an individual twist. You get to run on your own.
They probably would have. There's a few things. They probably would have either had the teams that didn't have a star compete in some sort of challenge to win it, or they would have maybe allowed the team that lost to gift the star to whoever they wanted to.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So you guys win the pressure sandwich challenge.
Can you believe it? We won it. That's crazy.
The pressure challenge sandwich, Nany and Turbo get voted in, and then you guys are able to send in Steve and Adam so that there's only one strong team remaining in the final.
That's what the hope was. Yeah.
How good did that feel?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So great. It was even better because the night before Adam came to me shaken and was like, you're not going to put me in. You're not going to put me in, right? We have a deal. And I was like, Adam, absolutely not. I'm not going to put you in. He's like,
it's a transferable.
Can we just shake hands on it again? And after he walked out of the room and we shook hands for the second time, I just went to the bathroom and washed my hands and said, good night, Sam.
How did Veronica feel about this?
I don't know. She wasn't there.
Oh,
And
that's right.
that gave me more
They're
license.
gone. You're right.
That gave me more license to
Yes.
do that because
You're
she
right.
wasn't there. Mommy
Yes.
wasn't there to tell me that I couldn't do it.
Shit. Yeah, you just got fucked. Yeah, you're right, dude. So then you get to the elimination. You have to basically fool the other team on whether they have a star in their box.
This was so weird.
I was going to say, this almost seems like some shit that they would have had in Squid Games.
It was so weird. And we couldn't hear it really either. So like from where we're standing. So like, it was just like watching people in a silent film.
Do you feel like, again, because there was these mismatched teams throughout the season, do you feel like the reason that they made challenges like this or the eliminations like this is so basically anyone could win?
I think so. It's just hard because the tone shifted. Like the first few dailies, like I said, were not physical. It didn't feel like anybody could win those. Then it shifted to feeling like, okay, maybe it's a little bit more wonky, a little bit more equal. And then, we got the final coming up, and without giving away too much, like the final felt like a final. So, I don't know.
Well, we've got one more week to wait for the final, right? You were able to, pull out what you wanted to do and what I think a lot of teams wanted to do for a long time. That was put in, two really strong teams, get rid of one of them. So you're going to have a little bit of a easier path in the final, but you still have, Adam and Steve there that have been winning everything. So, what are you guys praying for? What were you at this point hoping that the final was going to be? Like, did you see any scenario with you and Sam where you're like, okay, if it's this or if it's heavily favored in this is something we could win?
No. I thought I was hoping so hard that I was hoping with every ounce of my being that we're going to show up to the final and TJ was going to be like, you're running this thing individually. You're done with your rival. You're running against your rival, anything like that. And I was like, oh, fuck, that would feel so good. And like, this is not in any way to disparage Sam, but it's just an understanding, a realistic understanding of like what her capabilities are when it comes to doing things, any cardiovascular activity. It just like wasn't there. Like she just didn't train beforehand for that. And so it was like, I just recognized the limitations and knew that was going to be an uphill battle regardless. So it was a little, I was just with every ounce of me, I was like, man, maybe there'll be a twist where we get to run this thing on our own. Because I knew if that were the case, nobody was going to beat me.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. I've ran next to you before. Not fun. Not fun at all, Quadzilla. All right. Well, excited to see what goes down. Although you've, you don't have very high hopes in yourself, unfortunately. But we'll see. Anything could happen.
Look, anything could happen. And I think really what it is, it's getting Sammy Joe clocked in. So, up until this point in the game, she was happy to be there. And I think like me, we're just kind of like, let's just see how far we can get. And so it really was like a come to Jesus moment between the two of us where I was like, girl, you got to clock in. Like we got to be ready because we don't know what's going to happen. And like now there's actual money on the line. We made it all this way. I'm trying to build a family. Like this is critical.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited to see how it all goes down, man. And, it's been a hell of a season, Frank. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say you were gone. You were gone too long. All right. This is what I feel like, the show in a lot of ways. And the flagship as well. It has been missing is like your understanding of the game and your kind of level of, gameplay from a physical, mental, and like obviously strategic sense. I feel like you always had it. I feel like it was always there. You just, like you said, when you're younger, you're just a little more like unhinged and a lot less able to like focus. Yeah. And I feel like you've gotten that. And again, I feel like even though you've been away from the game for a while, you still have such a innate understanding of like how this game works, how to make TV, how the show works. So It was fun to watch.
As a student of bananas, like you said. But for real, I think, you know what? No, I'm going to give you a little bit I'm going to light you up a little bit here. I think I've watched on House of Villains, Traders, on the shows. And I think the piece that's missing from the challenge, I think there is a missing piece, is that people aren't having fun with it.
Yes.
Like, you got to go in and have fun. Our relationships that we form there, some are very real, and that's great. You were just with Josh and Tori, having fun with them. That's awesome. That's great. I'm glad that there are real friendships that have come out of the show. But when you're there, you're signing up to play a game, and people should just have fun with the game. When you're playing a board game with your friends on a Saturday night, you're not, you're partying. But when I'm playing a board game with my friends on a Saturday night, it's fucking cutthroat. I don't care who anybody is. I want to win. Yep. That's it. It's just a game. And it makes it more fun when everyone's bought into that. And so my hope for the challenge going forward is friendships are great. Gameplay is better. Make fucking good TV and have fun with it.
Yeah. Fuck your friends, man.
That's right.
I love it. Well, all right. No, that's it. That's perfect advice for everyone out there. Fuck your friendships. What is it? Where your real friends at?
Yo.
That's why I keep my circle small, though. That's why I keep my circle small. But
Johnny, the gag is that I am friends with all these people still. I put them in. I worked them over this whole game, and I'm still friends with them. So, it just doesn't matter. It's a game.
Except for Shane.
We're done with that.
I had to get one more in there. All right, Frank, for those out there that don't already follow your shenanigans on social media, where can they find you?
It's Frank Sweeney Fox on Instagram.
Ooh. Emphasis on the Fox.
That's right.
Frank Sweeney Fox. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Frank, miss you, man. Been too long. Let's not wait this long to do it again. Where are you at these days, by the way? Where are you living?
I'm in Austin, but I'm between Austin and LA a lot.
All right. Well, next time I'm in Austin or LA, or next time you're out in Florida, in South Florida, would love to see you, man.
Thanks, man.
Good to catch up. Back. We'll run to the gym at a mild 3:40 minute pace.
Yeah, like a 3-4 on the treadmill, a fast walk. Yeah.
Done. All right, buddy. Well, listen, man, thank you for stopping by the Death, Taxes, and Bananas podcast, where the tea flows like wine and my guests instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm Oprah, and I love you.